going well. We've actually had some fun, some good conversation. Our next contestant, excuse me as I make a legal turn into this. Well, this is a busy place. We are pulling up to the campaign office of Frank Pullia, who is located here on Memorial Avenue in this really awful parking spot. So let's park in here and see where Frank is. Frank's campaign office starting October 1st. There's the hours. So we will wait patiently for Frank. He's got a lot of signs up. I think he wins the sign war. That's the most amount of signs that I think he has the most amount. Hello, sir.
Morning.
How are you? Good
Great.
to see you. Come on in.
Seeing you.
You know what, Frank? You win the sign race. You have more signs up on your building than any other campaign office. You had a lot.
Sounds good.
You did all right.
Thanks.
Buckle up.
Yes.
Let's go for a ride.
All right.
How you been?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I had a rally last night.
Nice. How did it
Yeah.
go?
Well, pretty good. It was a hockey night. I didn't even know.
Oh, well, that, yeah.
It was raining and there
Yeah.
were other events, but we had about 50 people come
Nice. Listen,
supporters.
thanks for doing this with us,
Yeah, my
because this is a great way for us to get to know the candidates, share it with our listeners, and at the same time give you a bit of a platform too, because without any debates and anything else that's going on where the public can really get involved, this is a nice way to do it. So I'm glad you had the time.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for doing this. It's really an innovative way and approach.
different.
I'm sure our citizens will appreciate.
See, I lock you in the car because then you can't get out, so you have to answer the questions.
No problem.
That's
No problem. But there are two debates going on.
when are they?
Mayoral debates on October 11th
Okay.
at the Labour Council, hosted by the Labour Council at the Moose Hall from 7 to 9:30 on the 11th.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So that's good. People need to go to these things. They need to
Yes.
learn more.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, I have to ask you
Yeah.
the most important question. How many times now is this that you've run for mayor?
Fifth.
Fifth time.
Yeah.
Frank.
I don't give up that easy.
No, you apparently not.
I have a passion for Thunder Bay.
Well, you do, but you showed that passion as an at-large councillor.
Mhm.
So you're very successful at large and running at large.
Thank you.
And so why try this again? Why not be comfortable with that same amount of votes as an at-large councillor as you would if you were the mayor?
The solutions many times are outside of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
It would be comfortable for me to remain at large, but the needs in our city are great. And what I hear more than anything else is in our community, the citizens I talk to on a regular basis, because as you know, I'm out there.
Right, you're out a lot. You are out far more than anybody else.
Representing the interest of our community members, and to do that, you need to be out and about and meet them.
Right.
And we need to be tuned in into what's really going on. We cannot be a city hall, it's us and them, that kind of mentality does not work. That gap of information is not one way, doing a media release about what's happening.
Right.
It's a two-way conversation.
That's true.
And that's why I've been, my slogan for doing the town hall meetings is taking City Hall to the people.
Yeah.
These are, come to City Hall, this big bureaucracy. No, it's not like that.
Right.
But the perception is like that.
That's
and
true.
I think what's missing is that approach to say that we work for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there to represent you, because otherwise we might as well go home and let administration run the show.
So what's the difference? What's the biggest difference to you? Because you still can represent them at large. You can still get there. So
It's
what's the
different.
difference?
It's different because people say that technically the mayor has only one vote, and technically they're correct.
Yeah.
But the mayor has a lot of influence.
That's true.
It's in the municipal act that the mayor is supposed to lead.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that's missing more than anything else, and I hear it time and time again, is a clear sense of direction of where Thunder Bay is, where we're going, and how we're going to get there.
Right. And so do you think that we could have done, obviously you think we could have done a better job in the last 4 or 8 or even 12 years in the direction that we're going? Do you think that the council that you sit with now could have done a better job in the last 4 years in communicating with citizens and in how we're spending and all of those pieces? Do you think we could have done a better job?
We can always do a better job, but I think in the last 4 years we have done reasonably well. You know, the sky's not falling,
right?
And things are not great. You know, we got some strengths, and some of the strengths that came across recently that reflect the strength of our community is the decision of council decisively to support Grace Place in their Out of the Cold program. Even though it's a provincial responsibility, social issues, mental health and addiction, all the social determinants of health, really it's a healthcare issue.
I'm glad you brought that up.
We need to take a leadership role and act.
And that's what you did.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because one of my themes in all of this, and I spend a lot of time watching council. Not a lot of people watch council, Frank, but I do. Sometimes I get some chips and I just sit there for the whole night. And
quite a few. You'll be surprised how many people watch council.
There are a lot. They're paying attention.
Yeah, and that's good.
Yeah, absolutely it is. But you know, in watching that and studying that, the Grace Place example is a perfect one. There is absolutely no denying the importance of that organization and the work that they do. Mm-hmm. No denying that at all. But there are processes in place to help these organizations. And one of the things that I questioned was, why hasn't Grace Place in the past been in a city budget to support them on an ongoing basis?
They told us when they came to us, they never asked for money from the city. They rely on a tremendous number of volunteers and support from the community that has always responded to their call to help those in need. Mm-hmm. This was the first time there was funding available for the next 3 years. The only reason why they came to us because it was the last minute decision by the new government to review those applications.
Right.
There's
a delay, that's all.
There's a delay. So this is a one-time deal, and it was unusual and exceptional circumstances. And while we realize that there are, it was not our responsibility. We needed to act, and the response from the community has been great, and really reflects that Thunder Bay still has that giant heart.
Yeah, we care. We absolutely do.
So for all the problems that we have, there's nothing that we can't fix with what's right with Thunder Bay, with all the wrongs, with all the issues, all the fear and
I think we do. I don't think we do a good enough job of talking about the rights.
Exactly.
I don't think we do, because I've talked about this with other candidates too. That I left once in the 90s for a little while, but made sure I was back. This is home. No matter where I go, this is home. And for a lot of us, there are too many good things about this community that keep us here. So I think we need to celebrate those a little bit more. One of those things is where we're going next.
Uh-huh.
Full disclosure, Frank, this is my favorite place in the whole world. I love Marina Park. I love everything about Marina Park. And I enjoy getting into long debates with people about the beacons, because they didn't cost $1 million. They're great, even though people complain about them. I love how much money we've spent here and the things that have happened down here. I spend a lot of time down here. I'm here every day. I work across the street. I am part of the boating community here. I see hundreds of people down here every single day, even when there is no programming.
Yep.
Just enjoying the park.
Mm-hmm.
As the mayor, when you look at this space, because you were part of a lot of those discussions at the beginning,
yes.
There were a lot of people against this and against spending this money. When you look at this now and you look back to that time, was it worth it to you?
Yes, in many ways. When the city invested $22 million that matched the provincial and federal funds, 66 from different orders of government.
Right.
That also brought in the private sector, who invested over $17 million. So with our $22 million, we were able to leverage 5 times the amount of money. From a purely, forget about what it did in terms of quality of life and pride in our city. From a purely financial perspective, we got 500% return.
It was
on our
worth
investment.
it. Worth it.
So that's the kind of wise investments that can really move a city forward.
Do you like do you like what it's become with the hotels and the condos? Do you think that that's added to it?
I think it has, because remember, when people say that we have used the park area, but we have also created more land. There was like a little.
There's a lot more
coming
water
in.
here.
There's more land, park space available now because of the reclaimed some of the water part, and you can see that people are walking. So there's room for everybody. The Delta Hotel will be a great addition once that opens up. The 2 condo units and the Delta Hotel bring in $1.75 million in taxes every year.
It's worth it.
And given that we have lost $23 million in our industrial tax base in the last 5 years, that's a great addition.
That's a big help.
This is the kind of positive development that is, when people come from out of town, they say, wow, I haven't been in Thunder Bay for a while, or they just visited, they say this is a world-class marina development.
Now we're adding to it, and we're expanding this park kind of in a direction that we didn't plan on it. But the addition of the art gallery on the south end, where were you on the supporting of the gallery and putting in that money? Was it $5 million?
5 plus land development will end up being $8 million, which we didn't have, and we had to borrow. Will end up costing 10, with interest accumulated because we had to borrow the money.
Right.
My concern with that type of investment is that we had options where we could have repurposed the Eaton's building and create an arts center and conference center.
Why didn't that go through? Because I agree with you on that. I think that the Eaton's building would have been a great place for an art gallery. It would have been
fantastic. It was a perfect combination. Montreal did it, very successful. It didn't go through because I think when I asked the people from the art gallery if they would consider that, and they say no, because their plans were already so advanced and it was difficult to change, and they didn't feel that the Eaton's building, the climate control, which I don't agree with, because it wasn't
put a climate control in anything.
It was they just had invested over $1 million because there was a call center and they had to have a perfect climate control in there. I had visited that place when the big debate about the event center was going on, because I felt, well, we can have a conference center here.
Yeah.
And then the arena part could be anywhere in the city.
Yeah. It
would be smaller scale, smaller footprint. It would cost less.
Right.
Because when you're trying to combine the event component with the arena part, that's why the price doubled.
Yeah.
But if you remove the two, and the Eaton's building would have been perfect for that. You go on the third floor, you have a conference center.
There's tons of
all
space.
The hotels are now within a certain radius. I had architects, structural engineers, and
So what happened?
There wasn't the political will, because the idea for the standalone art gallery on the waterfront had already moved forward to the point where council could not shift. But to me, we need to be nimble and adaptable as an organization to best reflect the needs of our community. So now we're looking at next year, starting the budget process with a much higher number, because we had to go and borrow $8 million.
Yeah.
We could have fixed the Eaton's building, and it's still doable because that building is still up for sale. It's not
solid.
And I would
Great
love
spot.
to see an arts and conference center that would greatly revitalize. It would complete the redevelopment of our North Core entertainment district.
Absolutely.
There's so much arts and culture. There's so many opportunities. I see so many positive things happening that can really rejuvenate our downtown cores and take it to a whole new level.
You, a lot of times around council, you bring these ideas forward, and you get a little bit of a pushback. Well, you get a lot of pushback sometimes, but a lot of it has to do with your ideas come from how we spend our money. You're the financial chair, aren't you?
No, just one dimension. There's all kinds of qualitative aspects to the quality of life that we can have.
Sure, but it comes down to how much we spend on these things, and you take a pretty good look at those things.
Yes.
You think we need to do better on how we're spending our money?
There's still room for improvement. We were able to save like $12 million over the last 4 years. I think we can find more. We have made a lot of progress. We're looking internally with ongoing operational reviews. We have now we do monthly variance analysis. Because people ask me, how did you do it? How can you continue on that path? Very simple. When you take your car to a mechanic, you rely on their expertise of 30 plus years
Right.
experience of doing that kind of work.
Right.
Or you go to a surgeon, you go to a lawyer. I'm a CMA, Certified Management Accountant, as a business consultant. I have a master's degree in business, and I have worked for multinational corporations.
That's what you do.
As a financial analyst for Kimberly-Clark, both the Woodlands Division and the Mill. I was the budget coordinator at Ontario Hydro
Wow.
for the whole Northwestern Ontario region, and I was 6 months in head office before the company Hydro split up.
Right.
And I remember when I was in the financial controllership office, raising the concern about splitting up Ontario Hydro. It would have cost Hydro would have gone through the roof, and it actually did, because we lost our economies of scale.
Right.
So understanding the numbers, but not only the numbers, the impact it has, and being able to articulate that.
That's your experience. Absolutely.
Yeah, the budget per se is just, people say it's just numbers, you're just a bean counter, you're just an accountant. No, it's our ability to provide funding for the services that we need the most.
Right.
It adds to the quality of life, spending wisely, living within our means, and being smart about how we pull it all together makes a huge difference. And that's when people say, oh, you just one vote. It's way more than that.
I think sometimes we don't live within our means here.
Agreed.
Where do we need to spend money wiser? Where do we need to spend better money in the community now?
Right now, with the concerns raised about mental health and addiction, policing, gangs, drugs, and crime in general, there's a great need to collaborate a whole new level with our provincial and federal government. It's not just us. The property taxpayer can only do so much.
Right.
If you're on fixed income as a senior, we can't come back to you and ask you for more taxes.
That's right.
We can't. There's no that much room there.
But we have been.
To some extent, we
Right.
have.
Right.
But we need to bring that representation at the federal and provincial level. And I have worked diligently with our members of parliament at the federal level, who Thunder Bay just received $5 million in funding from the feds for crime prevention and programs for youth. It was announced a month ago. I have a very good relationship with Minister Haidu, MP Don Rushnak. We talk and meet on a regular basis. So the representation at the local level and having that ongoing relationship, it's not once a year we go to AMO, and make a presentation. You have to develop those relationships.
And you have those.
And I have, yes. And so I bring the skill sets of good, strong financial background. Having represented Ontario Hydro regional region here in the past, we were able to go to Toronto and get an extra 10% funding for our operating and capital budgets.
Huge.
Because we were able to prove that our region, because of the vast geographical dispersion, the climate, terrain, and all those, it's different. There's a higher cost of operation. We were able to prove it. They could not, because there are other regions in Ontario, and they were complaining that they were making exception for Northwestern Ontario.
Right.
We were able to get the extra money. So that kind of experience that it's already
That makes
proven,
a difference.
I can take it to any order of government,
For sure.
anytime, at any level, to achieve those funding that we need. For example, I'll give you another example. We need to be at the table, I think, on a regular basis, because the feds in the province, when they invest in infrastructure, they have an agreement, and we only, at the end of at the tail end of those decisions, we receive the funds. And so we have identified our priorities during the budget time.
Right.
And unless they match with the priorities of the feds and the province, we have to scramble for a whole month. So it gets delayed on our roads project and any other projects, just to line them up. I've been in discussion already with our MPs to sit at the table, and actually I think should be a four-way table, four-way discussion, federal, provincial, municipalities, and indigenous. The four corners,
Right.
which was initiated by the regional chief Isidore Day. And I think we need to have that four-way conversation in representing the best interest of our community.
Right.
And that goes beyond party affiliation, because people think, some of my worthy opponents have party affiliation, and I believe there is a danger in, it may work well if you are on the same party, and the party in power now in Toronto is the PC government.
Right.
So if you're on the other side, how is that going to help us?
It doesn't help us
By
at all.
being neutral and being independent, I can work with anyone at any order of government, at any level, in representing the best interest of our community. I think that's an advantage.
I think so too. I think that was well said. Now that we're, and you brought this up a little bit too, now that we're heading into the downtown South Core, which has seen not nearly as much growth as the North Core has. I was here early on in the process when the courthouse was approved, and I was actually part of that building building that building, and in a lot of discussions with the contractors and such about how it was going to help start to revitalize this core. This core hasn't seen nearly as much growth as it should be, and the courthouse didn't add nearly as much as we hoped it would. What do we need to do here with social issues that are happening down here, with crime that's happening here? Where do we start here? You've been on council a long time. You've seen this city change a lot in your time. But for some reason, this section is the growth is too slow. So what do we need to do down here?
There has to be more of a focused effort in the business improvement area to match the successes of the north side, that they have been able over a long period of time to create that synergy that allowed the entertainment district to flourish. You see some new development here now. We need to incentivize to a much larger scale the small, medium-sized businesses and young entrepreneurs, young and not so young, who are willing to invest. We only have $100,000 of investments and subsidies available, and it's not nearly enough for the whole city.
Right.
We can, like we did in the marina, by providing help to the entrepreneurs who now can buy a building for a very small price. They could, we could help revitalize this area, and that investment alone is not sufficient. There has to be a clear vision and a plan that an entrepreneur, an investor can feel comfortable in investing, because they know that City Hall and their reps on their side.
Right.
By reducing bureaucracy, red tape, becoming facilitators instead of regulators.
Right.
As I talk to the small business community on a regular basis, young investors, entrepreneurs, some of them are really gung-ho on the future successes of our city. They see the potential. And there is nothing in Thunder Bay that works in Thunder Bay that cannot allow us to overcome what doesn't work now.
Right. But it doesn't, we don't need a lot. We just need a few to come in, just to get it started.
Creating that critical mass. If you drive on Victoria Avenue, look at the Hub Bazaar, where you have an innovative approach. You got restaurants here. There is emerging restaurants. We need more critical mass, a little more support and incentive, so they don't feel that they're on their own.
What about the social issues?
The social issues,
we see it sitting here right now.
Absolutely. The social issues. Remember, we have a shelter house not too far away. We have a DSAB, so there is a congregation here of support services. Also, new office being right here doesn't help either, right? So it's also the visual aspect that people don't have that sense of security, and all the recent incidents with gangs. There's the fear factor and concerns, which we need to address as the leaders of our community. So we have homelessness, young people now facing homelessness issues. The city's already been moving in that direction. Remember, it was only 2 weeks ago we supported rezoning for the
For the hostel.
transitional program for
Right.
St. Joe's
Right.
that will take care of 30 to 60 patients on a long-term basis. Because what I hear from the experts in mental health and addiction, in homelessness and poverty, you need long-term transitional support services. Because right now there are a lot of short-term. It's not enough. People then relapse.
Right.
And then you have this revolving door.
Right.
So you have a multitude of issues coming together. I was the only counselor that I had the town hall meeting on this, April 25th, on crime prevention and community safety, social issues and community safety. I had the VP of mental health and addiction from St. Joe's attending, Lakehead Social Planning, the chief of EMS, Wayne Gates, talking about some of the emergency, the type of calls they respond to. So, and there were others. There were 5 on the panel, and there were 75 people that came out on a hockey night, and it was televised on Facebook Live.
Right.
So I'm very keen on those issues. To me, those are emerging as pressing issues, but we want to give our community and our citizens hope that we can get a handle on that.
Yeah.
That requires the type of communication that you're enabling today.
Right.
And for that, I say thank you for doing this, because
To
this
get the
type of
message out.
conversation
Yeah.
needs to be on an ongoing basis.
I don't think we do it enough.
We don't do enough, because even when I am on the communication committee at City Hall, and I keep saying, town hall meeting, if I'm elected as mayor, within 3 months I would have a huge town hall meeting at the community auditorium to present to the community where we are as a city,
Right.
where we're going, and how we're going to get there.
Right.
Not just my ideas. I got my own ideas. We need to hear from you,
Right.
the taxpayers, the
You-
community, the citizens,
And the rest of council.
and the rest of council and administration.
Everybody needs to get together.
Everybody, because we need to have that conversation on a more regular basis to be clear on what is happening. Yeah, the issues are there, but I look at those as opportunities for renewal.
Yeah.
The type of renewal that we can allow Thunder Bay to emerge, and that in line with my vision. Because people ask me, why do you want to run for mayor? And my answer is, because I want to help Thunder Bay be the kind of city we can all be proud of calling home. And that's missing
That's
right
the
now.
goal. Absolutely. Right
You know,
now it is missing.
We got the national attention, media attention for a couple of years for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
And when people say, oh, you're from Thunder Bay, what kind of city is there? I want to be able, a year from now, when people talk about Thunder Bay, to talk about Thunder Bay in a positive way.
Yeah.
We're leading in amazing initiatives. We're already doing that, but we're not getting that kind of coverage.
That's
so I
true.
want to, for example, historical agreement signed at City Hall a couple of months ago, where all the large employers, all the agencies and organizations like the hospital, City Hall, the municipality, and Fort William First Nation, and Ottawa Educational Council, and the university, the college, all the largest employers signed a historical agreement to look at their own organization, to look at systemic racism and tackle it wherever it is. That's a historical. I haven't heard of any other city anywhere in North America or anywhere in
Nothing
the
like
world
that.
that has done that.
Yeah.
Why didn't we get the national media here?
Yeah. They don't come for the good stuff, Frank.
Right? So
No,
we
you're
need
right.
to own our own conversation. We need to manage the dialogue a lot better and lead from the front.
Yeah. I
And
agree with
define
that.
our own future, define who we are instead of letting others define it for us.
It's well said.
That's what has been missing. And I
Yeah.
think as mayor, I would change that. We need that kind of forward thinking, progressive thinking, leading from the front.
Do you, if you're successful at the end of the month, you could be sitting around council chambers with a lot of new people.
It's possible.
The opportunity is there for a lot of new faces around. Well, your seat or Ian's seat or whoever. There's a couple at large. There's at least 1 or 2 new ward councillors coming. There are some tight races. Do you worry a little bit about a mass change around council, or would you rather work with the people that you know and have relationships with now?
At the end of the day, I need to work with anyone that gets in, if elected. What I'm getting a sense of, there'll be some changes, and people are looking for change. But change for the sake of change is not necessarily
Could
good.
be dangerous.
Could be dangerous. And
I've
so
said
that's
this to all the other
people-
candidates. Last time we had mass change around city council, cost us a lot of money.
You got it. So transition, but also progressive changes.
Right.
And what the sense that I get is I'm very open about my platform. I'm very open. I've been active in the community. People know, not everybody, but quite a few people know, I'm a collaborative type of person. My style is seeking collaboration, win-win solutions. Always strive to do better.
Right.
There is no limits in the limits that we put on ourselves as individuals and as organizations or as a community. It's only those that we put ourselves
That's
on.
true. Yep.
There's unlimited opportunities. We can invite the world to come to Thunder Bay, because if we can send out that message that we're open for business, we're progressive, we're looking at our challenges, and we're looking at those as opportunities to become better all the time. Continuous improvement at the type of approach that we looked at in finance, and we shortened the budget time so that by 1 month, so we
Made a
found
big difference.
money so we can take full advantage of the short construction season. And we can do even more, amplify that across the board in social issues, in growth, jobs, good paying jobs that can allow us to grow our tax base, so that we can pay for the services that we need and keep taxes low. Water rates have gone up too fast.
Right.
I'm committed to look at those very attentively, reduce them if possible, or prevent any future increases. No new taxes. You heard about this slogan about rain tax. There's no such a thing. I'm committed to no new taxes. Whatever we need to do for climate control, climate change, we can do that internally by finding internal
our
savings.
own solutions. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So that rain tax, then you would
Just a slogan that someone is putting out there to make it sound there's another tax coming. It has been raining forever. We can manage whatever needs, whatever investments we require.
Right.
The way we can do that, and I said that in every town hall meeting and every ward meeting. I said that at council. I said this approach that there can be a surcharge or there's going to be another user fee. I say no.
No.
User fees are another form of taxation.
Right. My bill's high enough, Frank.
It's high enough.
It's plenty
We
high.
hear
right
that
now.
loud and clear.
Yeah.
Our taxpayers and our citizens need tax relief, no new taxes. Okay, so it's coming. I'm committed to that, and we will look diligently at ways to lower those water rates. I'll give you an example. Because in the financial projection, I spent an hour questioning administration on the financial water projections, and we're controlling the cost, but there is no new users. Through growth, we can bring new users to the water system. We have excess capacity.
Yeah.
We can provide subsidies to heavy water users who a database management company that needs a lot of water to cool all their computers. That can employ people. They can be anywhere. We got fiber optics. We can attract them here, and they can be heavy users of water. Any industrial plant that needs a lot of water, we can attract them here by give them good prices on subsidies on water that can bring in a whole new bunch of revenue and lower the cost, because our costs are mostly fixed.
So why haven't those things happened yet?
Because as a council, look at how long it took just to bring the budget under control.
That's true.
As mayor, the job of the mayor is to lead. I can bring all these ideas to the front. That's all the mayor, they have the big picture, full-time job, the attention of administration, the city manager,
Right.
all the resources around the table.
So-
Council is mostly part-time basis. Some work more hours, some do amazing number of hours, but the job of the mayor is to lead.
So what would you, in the budget process, in the planning process for the upcoming budgets, what would you do differently in that process as the mayor than what Keith Hobbs had done in the last 2 terms?
There's a budget chair. I was the budget chair. The mayor sits around that table.
Right.
So people say to me, well, if we lose you become the mayor, you don't be the budget chair. No, I'll be there.
You're still
I'll
around
be
the table.
Part around the table, part of the budget team.
Mm-hmm.
We will make that even stronger with a clear mandate to keep taxes low
So what?
and lower
But
the water rates.
as far as the leadership goes, though, in that process, what are you just? You're going to count on your experience, obviously, as an
Yeah.
accountant, to guide the rest of council to make smarter decisions. Because obviously, we could make smarter decisions.
Yes, always.
Yeah.
We need to strive to always do better. And close the loop on accountability.
Ah.
We need to hold people accountable for the decision, including council, including the mayor. The buck stops here. If as leaders of our community, we can tell our administration, take some risks, become more of facilitators instead of regulators,
Right.
open up the opportunities for the business community to expand and grow. If there are 7,000 small businesses in our city. If each one of those can hire one more person,
Yeah. Make a
because
big
we're
difference.
enabling them, we've created 7,000 jobs.
Yeah. That's a big. It would be a big difference.
Diversifies our economic base.
Uh-huh.
And also, I'm now totally focused on thinking Thunder Bay first. Let's put Thunder Bay first in all the decisions that we make. It's not about me, it's not about you, it's about Thunder Bay now. That's how we need to emerge by focusing on Thunder Bay first, including, not having to go and hire consultants from out of town.
We do that a lot.
Too much.
Okay, good. I'm glad
Okay,
you said
too
that.
much. We have the internal resources, the capacity, the local level. How do you build your economic base unless you enable the people, the talent
Yeah.
that we have here,
Yeah. Already employed.
already here in our business community to bid for those jobs instead of always going on the outside because somebody else knows better. No. Look at Thunder Bay first.
Well, we know
in everything that we
right.
do.
We know our community, right?
Yes.
And the people that work here and live here, they know what it's all about.
Other solutions that may have worked other places, we learn from those, but we need to adapt this to Thunder Bay solutions.
Right.
That's what is going to make a big difference at the end of the day, because then you instill pride and commitment to your own community instead of always bringing people from outside.
Because I often watch that and scratch my head a little about how much we do spend on consultants for a lot of different things, and I wonder sometimes what we could have done with that money that we spent, what we could have spent it on instead.
We have started the process of controlling that. We have said no a couple of times. I would do a complete review of all the consulting that's been done, complete review of all the overtime,
Right.
look at the legal cost over the years, so look at the trends. We have done some of that, and then we need to do more. For example, that's why we bought the pothole machine. That's an investment
That
of
was the best
$350,000.
Best investment ever, Frank.
Paid itself off in 3 months.
That was your baby, wasn't it?
Yeah. Pushed for that for 2 years.
Can we get another one?
We could.
We need another one.
We're waiting for a report to see how it has
A
worked.
report. I'll tell you how it works. We're driving over a piece right here that just got fixed.
No.
It's
what
fine.
I'm saying is I'm hearing that they may have had a few minor issues. I don't know to what extent.
It's
We need
working
to-
fine.
The results are obvious for everyone to see.
Let's get a couple more.
At least one more. One for the north, one for the south.
There you go. Because
Yeah.
but one machine is not, and it's going,
It's going
12
still.
hours a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was a good investment. We made fun of the name of it because it's such a silly name.
I heard.
but those are the kinds of little things that make big differences. You
They
know?
do. And that's when I say continuous improvement is we need to continuously look at how we operate.
Right.
Call it whatever you want. Core services review, operational review, to me is an ongoing way of doing things better. That's why, better economy, that's my slogan. Better economy for growth and creation of good paying jobs. Better run city, so we can give in confidence assurance to our taxpayers that we are spending their money wisely.
Because you must. Now, are you going to door to door? Are you knocking on doors?
Doing everything.
You must be hearing that we're not spending our money very wisely sometimes.
Well, there's still that perception, but I think it's slowly changing. When I show them my brochure, that when they look at the budget chart, the budget chart here, We went from 3 years of deficits to 3 years of surpluses.
Yep.
That wasn't coincidental. It does not happen on its own.
There's a lot of work in that.
A lot of work, relentless.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay, so we're watching the numbers. I challenge respectfully. I challenge administration on everything. We do monthly review of our budget expenditures so that we can catch it before it runs away from you.
How-
And that's why we got the surpluses at the end of the year, because we've been working on changing the culture of spending or you lose it.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, it's
Collapsing the silos mentality, working in collaboration, finding efficiencies wherever possible, fully engaging our workers in the front line, our employees who know best how to find savings in the delivery of services.
It's what we should be concentrating on.
And we are.
How would you rate the work of administration now in finding those pieces for
We
you?
have a superb senior administration team. I work with them on a regular basis. They don't get enough credit. I want to give credit where credit is due while holding people accountable at all levels, starting from the mayor to council to everyone that delivers the services. I emphasize accountability because, and I'll give you another example how we can do that. Complaint system. When people complain to us, I want to automate that. We have the technology now. You should be able to know when your complaint goes in, at what point is it being looked at. Whatever it is, garbage pickup or snow removal or whatever problem you may have, you should be able to. We have an amazing new website. We got the technology. We own Tibet-Tel, fiber optics all over the city. There's a limited potential to be able to measure how well we're doing, including the performance indicators that will tell you as a citizen and us as council
How we're doing overall.
how we're progressing in achieving our goals.
Smart.
If you do not measure it, you do not know. To me, when I say closing the loop, that's what I mean. Be able to know, how are we doing in terms of achieving our goals that we set for ourselves. So measure that and make that available to the public 24/7. If elected, I'm gonna have a huge dashboard in the mayor's office showing all those performance indicators 24/7. You should be able to look at those from the comfort of your home.
Oh, that's right.
Go on your computer and go on the city website and say dashboard.
Well, that's your report card every single day, right? And that's what you're right. I do think that's a smart idea. It is, because I think that accountability part is where a lot of people have that question about, hey, what are you doing with my money here? And there isn't a real process to follow up on that. So it's a great idea.
We need to reassure our citizens, and transparency, accountability is big, because at the end of the day, you need to have value system. People need to know who their elected official, what do they stand on. And my guiding principles in every decision I bring to the table has been based on accountability, transparency, financial and social responsibility.
Right.
Accountability, so we'll do the things we say we would.
Right.
The lack of trust in elected officials comes because there's cynicism and there's anger and frustration. I hear it all the time. And I have no problem saying that.
And that's
we will
why,
do the same we say we would.
And that's why a lot of people are asking for change.
Yes.
This election,
Absolutely.
And that's why I think there might be some because of that. Because we're running out of time. I think ahead a month. You're elected as the mayor. You move into your new office. That'd be a nice thing. That's a nice office. You sit there, and your first priority, the first thing you want to do, because you're now in that office, is what? What's the first thing that you want to do?
Provide a clear message that we are working on a clear sense of direction on where we're going, how we're going to get where we are, where we're going, and how we're going to get there. And call a huge town hall meeting at the community auditorium so we can have that presentation and two-way conversation.
Right.
I think our citizens need to be reassured that their elected official have the best interest in mind right off the bat.
That you're paying attention. Yeah.
Paying attention. We're here for you.
Right.
Okay, we're here to serve the community, and we want to make sure that message comes across, and that conversation is to be ongoing, so that our citizens feel that we're working for them.
Right.
And we are available, approachable, responsive, progressive thinking about their needs.
But we also have to be those things, right?
Yes.
The counselors have to be those things.
It starts from the top.
Absolutely.
It starts from the top.
As example. So that's your first task. 4 years from now, when you're the mayor and you're running for re-election, what do you think would be the biggest thing you'd be most proud of 4 years from now? What change would you put in place 4 years from now that you'd be proud of? That would be maybe your legacy as the mayor, or maybe your re-election as the mayor. So it's a big question, because you can't predict this perfectly, but you can have a little bit of dream of where it should be going and where you want to go.
And that's part of the vision. The vision reflects the needs and aspirations of our community.
Mm-hmm.
And it's to help make Thunder Bay the kind of city we can all be proud of calling home.
Right.
My home is Thunder Bay. I want to be proud of that. I want every citizen to feel the same way.
But you see civic pride now, don't you? I see you at all these events.
I see it all the time, but now it's not, doesn't permeate across our community. There's still too many areas that we need to bring together in feeling that Thunder Bay is the place where you want to be, and be proud of this as a caring community,
right,
progressive community, a best run city that leaves nobody behind.
And there's no reason why we can't get there.
No reason at all.
There's none. And that's what sometimes frustrates me as a person who's lived here my whole life. I get frustrated because I sometimes am impatient. What's taking us so long? You know, we have all these plans and all these ideas, but why are we still sitting here waiting for these things to happen? Somebody's got to move this ahead.
That's where leadership comes in. Not only about the depth of understanding about the issues, but having the skills to execute the plan.
Right.
Because otherwise it becomes another plan sitting on a shelf. Our strategic plan, it is a living document. We need to adapt it to reflect the circumstances of the day. And being able to articulate that message, or what Thunder Bay needs are and how they're evolving.
Right.
Give you an example quickly. It's about changing the structure and the composition of council. We don't need the provincial government to tell us to do that. We should take the lead, and I brought that motion to council.
Yes, you did.
In April, for our council and our community to look at the composition structure, if it's still reflecting the needs of our city. Because when that was put in place, yeah, we need to have that conversation.
Right. And nobody wanted to have that conversation with you.
Council said no, but they committed because they didn't even want to bind the hands of the next council. I said, okay, if we're elected, we go back in and now have your commitment to bring that back, and I hope you support it. And they said yes. So
it's a start.
It's a start. And again, that discussion cannot just be had by council, has to go into the community, have proper consultation, and then at the end of the day, we're still elected to make decisions. But those decisions need to be reflect, again, the aspirations and will of our community, needs of our community, and bring that together. Will emerge to bring Thunder Bay forward on a much faster way, because you said, why is it taking so long?
Yeah.
It does not need to.
No.
We can move fast. I think people will be surprised how fast we can move, because we're going to build on a strong foundation. We laid that foundation.
We have that
it's
already.
There.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff that is working. Let's build on that while we work on our challenges. We're at really opportunities. There's a great opportunity here.
Do you think that a new makeup of council would help that?
From what I'm hearing, some of the candidates that I've been encountering, there's a cohesiveness of purpose and focused effort on those social issues, finances, and economic expansion and job creation. So I hear the same things are starting to emerge.
Right.
And so council will be united. I think the new council and whoever may be in there, they will come together, especially if the leadership at the top, if I'm lucky enough to be there, it's clear in my mind what's needed, and the kind of vision I want to present, and the ability to pull a united, inspired council through the leadership of transformational leadership coming from the office of the mayor. We need to transform and renew our city and our society and our community in a way that...
Do you think you'll have trouble convincing them to kind of follow that plan?
I'm confident that
it's a big job.
when even I had a rally last night here, volunteers, and even I extended an invitation to people in the community to come out and hear my Think Thunder Bay First plan. If the focus is on Thunder Bay and not on our individual agendas, I think council will, whoever may be there, will collaborate, will come together, because the purpose and the vision is supported by the community. They will come along.
You know what? You've got a great plan, Frank. You've been a great counselor, and I will say this. I'm not afraid to say this, and I've said this many times before. One of the things that I've always appreciated about you on council is that you sometimes ask tough questions that you're not afraid to ask, and oftentimes you don't get a lot of support for those questions around that table, and so thank you for that.
That's okay.
And thank you for asking the tough questions sometimes.
People need to feel that there's someone there speaking on their behalf.
And you've done that.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and that's why I, part of me is, I think it's great that you're running for the mayor's chair again. I think that's great. If you're not successful, I'm sad to see you go from council, and I hope that you'll be back.
Well, when people ask me that, I say, just help me get in.
Yeah, then you don't have to worry about it.
If you're really concerned about it,
yeah,
then help me get in.
Yeah.
Vote, support. If you believe in what I bring and what I'm talking about,
your numbers
support
have your numbers have increased every time that you've run. Yeah. So there are people understanding it. So
every poll that has been done online, and there's an online voting now, shows me in the lead.
Well, there you go.
So
you feel good.
Feel good.
Yeah.
And even talking to people, I'm engaging. I'm out there on a regular basis. I talk to hundreds of people per week, thousands per, on a regular basis. I talk to a lot of people, and even unsolicited, people offer me their feedback, their encouragement, their support. It looks good, but we need to work hard, and that's what I would bring to the table.
Right.
My passion for the city, my skills and my experience that I have gained over many years, and because I love the city and I want to see succeed. Well,
you certainly have shown your passion and your love for the city and your commitment to it, and on behalf of all of us, thank you for that, because
thank you.
Because it's a noble thing, and God bless you for keep trying. I'm telling you, I don't know how you do it. You've got a lot of heart. That's a lot of heart. Frank, thank you
very much.
Thank you for this. And you know what? A couple more weeks, we're going to be. I'm excited about election night. Are you?
Yeah.
You're going to have a party?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You have the wine out?
We could.
Okay, you call me. Let me know.
Okay.
As soon as I'm done on the air, I'll be down there. Leave it behind. Excellent.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Frank.
Yeah,
you take care. Have a great day. See you later.
Everybody.